So basically, since the last update, it's all the way at the bottom. Apparently, well, not apparently, the guy that's working on SRG or whatever his name is, basically actually had video of the demo playing Bug on the Saturn. So it's gonna be kind of loud, so just keep it muted. The music's kind of wonky. But like, I mean, it's actually running. I mean, not well. It looks. I mean, it's running at a good frame rate, but there's a lot of graphical issues on it. But it's actually running on the actual Mr. hardware, and it's just insane to sort of see that. And I thought it was kind of really appropriate with us talking to Dave Warhol about it. So it's kind of funny he picked Bug as his first game. But yeah, as you can see, it's running fairly decently.
Bug was one of those games. We learned so Bug was one of those games that only used one CPU. They like basically turned off the second one, and it was all done in assembly, their own little engine that they put together, and all assembly, no C. I think it was Bug 2 that they ended up moving to C. But yeah, this one was so early on that they were just basically working off of the hardware and documentation, and so yeah. Kind of crazy, but yeah, so that's cool that they started with like a launch game. And again, like you said, it's not perfect. There's some definite like graphical glitches going on in the background there. I mean, but it works like you said, and it's
pretty stable frame rate too.
It's really just a matter of time, right? Before they get that compatibility up to like close to 100%. Hopefully, eventually 100%, and then you've got basically perfect Saturn core preserved, so people can don't go check your Saturns or anything like that, but don't get sad when entropy takes over and they eventually die because they will.
All I know is if this ever gets released and it's almost 100% or close to it, I honestly think the Mister would be my go-to for playing games on it now for Saturn stuff.
And then of course with the Mister's hardware, the built-in, you got the Ethernet port, you got all this extra potential for like maybe doing some more online stuff, with it.
Doing Tyson stuff. It's insane.
Exactly.
It's like
there's a lot of stuff that you can get working.
It'll be a new Shiro dimension once that drops, because it's like it's just gonna be completely insane, and it will make playing Saturn like that much easier now.
Oh man, I don't know why, but this stream has like a lot of dropped frames, and my internet is looking like yellow or red right now in OBS.
It's looking pretty good to me.
Is it okay? I don't know. You know what? I actually went ahead and screwed with my QoS settings in my router to favor that VoIP adapter, and I wonder if that thing is like hogging. I mean, it's not enabled right now, so I would think that it wouldn't matter, but I'm never seeing yellow or red on these streams. It's always green, so I don't know. Might have to take a look.
It's good to me though. Like, it's not dropping for me.
Good. I don't know, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, it's all. Sometimes it's really picky, and maybe it's even the false positives.
Yeah, it also could just be that it's very hot. So maybe my machine is like working overdrive, but let me stop this YouTube video and see if that changes anything. No.
Yeah, I like the comment. Just having an easy HDMI solution for Saturn would be huge, and I completely agree.
That's true too. Yeah.
And I didn't even think about that. Like, I mean, with Saturn, it's just gonna be plug and play, just direct HDMI to a capture card, and you're good to go. I mean, like it'll change. Like I said, it'll change the dimension.
Most of the Saturn games depend on CRT effects, right? Like the mesh effect looks a lot different on CRT than HDMI.
This is true.
I suppose so, but I mean, it's still cool to be able to get that ability, and you can like for the Mister, you can get a CRT adapter for it, so you can hook it up via RGB or component.
I mean, it's really just different strokes. Like I know there's some people who will continue to recap their Saturns and fix them, and I mean, it's like an old car. If you treat it well enough, you can keep it running for forever, basically. I mean, you just have to keep fixing it, but I mean, it's a machine. It'll, so I mean, it's like it's conceivable that folks can keep their Saturns running for another 25 years or more, but it's definitely good that we have multiple options, and that not all those options are just limited to emulation, because as good as emulation can be, it's nice to know that there's something that's going to be more accurate at least in terms of preservation.
Yeah.
But
in all honesty, I think I'm gonna have to get another Mister just to have that set up in my other room.
Yeah, so based on that footage you guys just showed, it looks like they're a lot further along on VDP1 than VDP2, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, what did you say? You actually had numbers. And
yeah, I think I remember
it's in towards the bottom of the article.
Yeah, it was like VDP1 was at 80%, VDP2 was actually 90. I didn't need to click on that.
That VDP1 percentage looks like that's backwards. Because I don't see any problems with their meshing stuff unless they're not doing anything besides the absolute bare fundamental display. But all the mesh stuff and the sprite stuff looked fine, and obviously the background as a VDP2 plane looks awful. Mm-hmm. So it seems like those numbers would be completely different, but I guess they're not.
It could just be implementation, because he could write it, but it doesn't mean it's going to be working 100%.
Right.
All right.
So that 90% could be, it's written completely, but it's still not functioning the way I need it to be.
Right.
That could be what it means.
Well, anyway, good news. Good to see. I mean, we knew they were working on it. I just didn't know they were that far along. And, for them to be that far along on Saturn, I mean, that bodes well for other 32-bit, PlayStation, maybe even Nintendo 64, although that Silicon Graphics chip is going to be a tough nut to crack.
That's gonna be stretching. They barely can get emulation working on the PC.
I know. Yeah, it's a weird one. It definitely is a weird one. So very proprietary tools to make the games and proprietary hardware. So it'll be interesting. But I mean, I'm sure time. It's all a matter of time. We just might be waiting another decade.
Exactly. So I'm definitely happy we're getting Saturn relatively soon, because usually if the cores are to that quality, that means they're usually coming out like in the next few months or so, or maybe within the year.
I bet we'll have an FPGA Dreamcast before we have an N64.
More than likely. Actually, the thing is that I think I said in the last show that people speculate that the best they could do is PS1. Mm-hmm. And Saturn would not be feasible, but now we're seeing that that's not the case, and that we could probably go a lot further. So maybe we could get Dreamcast. Maybe it would be possible. I don't want to say never,
So the Dreamcast, besides the SH4, I thought was more or less just like a Windows 95 kind of computer. Didn't ATI make the graphics card for that thing? I don't recall.
It was actually the GameCube was ATI. The Dreamcast was VR Logic, I think.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so it's a proprietary thing, but it's...
Yeah, so, it was running Windows CE. I couldn't imagine that the hardware was so incredibly different from, standard x86 architecture.
No, not at all. I would imagine not. It was an SH4, right? The processor was like an SH4. But those are, well-known, well-documented chips. I'm pretty sure that, like I said, it's much less proprietary than what Silicon Graphics had going. So, and it probably has better documentation just because by that time they were keeping better documentation, probably. But again, that's speculation on my part. But it stands to reason. But then again, a decade ago, would have been 2011. Were we really talking about FPGA back in 2011? And did you even have the accessibility of these really powerful FPGAs back? No. Folks in science did, but they weren't using them for this kind of application, And over a decade. So a decade from now, I'm pretty sure that the FPGAs we'll have available to us will be twice or three times more powerful and capable of doing all sorts of stuff. So it's really just a matter of time.